This week's parasha is Parashat Yitro, a very, very popular parasha. In fact, it's so popular that there are halachot written about if you are allowed to stand up during the Asarat Hadibrot or not. Rabbi Yosef writes at Lemaskana not to stand up during Asarat Hadibrot. Why? Because if you do stand up for Asarat Hadibrot, then it gives a understanding to the Amaratzim that this is the main part of the Torah. If you do this, you're good, which we know that's not true. We do know that there are 613 mitzvot, not just 10. But how in the world did Asarat Hadibrot get that reverence? How in the world did Asarat Hadibrot get that spotlight that people want to stand up and has that importance? The Rav Sadia Gaon brings down. Rav Sadia Gaon was born in 882, Fayum, Egypt, and he was a Gaon. He was a Gaon in Bavel, and he brings down that each one of the 630 mitzvot are hinted in the Asarat Hadibrot, and in fact, he did the job for us. He brings down how each mitzvah, Sha'nez, the Zrikat Adam in the Beit HaMikdash, during the Korbanot, any mitzvah you can imagine is hinted in the Asarat Hadibrot. That already shows something unique and worthy of spotlight, possibly, why people would think to stand up or not, which is, I believe, a Ashkenazi minhag by many Ashkenazi communities. So we see in the Asarat Hadibrot that since it encompasses all 630 mitzvot, something is uniquely significant about it, which started at the minhag of standing up. Today I want to focus on something fascinating. We know that there are two tablets, Shnei Luchot Abrit, and one tablet talks about the mitzvot ben Adam lamakom, between a person and Hashem. And the other tablet talks about mitzvot ben Adam lachavero, between a person and his fellow Jew. Now, of course, we know Rav Sadia says there's an association of all the mitzvot in the Asarat Hadibrot. Today I'm going to speak about an association between the two tablets side by side. And B'ezrat Hashem Naseh v'natzliach for a couple of minutes. Commandment number 1. I am Hashem your God that took you out of Egypt. That is commandment number 1. Now, this sounds like, what am I supposed to do now? Commandment number 1. Now, what am I supposed to do? Put on tefillin. I understand why it's a commandment, right? But how do I understand the commandment, I am Hashem your God? If you don't believe that I am Hashem your God, then that's the number 1 commandment, then you transgressed that rule. And if you transgress that rule, that is equivalent to the first one on the other tablet. Who knows what's the first one on the second tablet? Lo tirtzach. What does lo tirtzach mean? Don't kill. Now this is very philosophical, not so simple to understand. Yitzchak, please close the door over there. It's very hard to understand. Don't kill is equated to believe I am Hashem your God. How is that possible? That means if you don't believe Hashem is God, that means that you are tantamount. You are parallel to someone that's a killer. Let me ask you a question. Let's say there's a guy that, he was drunk. And in his drunkenness, he killed somebody. That's A. And then B, there's a guy that psychologists checked him out very well. They see he's a killer. Happens to be he never had an opportunity to kill. Whenever he wanted, something came up. To be a killer, when you're sane, you have to be like a certain type of a person, certain ingredients of a person to kill. So let's say a killer, a real killer, killed 1,000 people, left and right? So he's a killer. Now here comes the deeper question. Let's say the killer never killed, but he's exactly like the killer that did kill that person. Is he still a killer or not? The answer is he's still a killer. He just happened to be he never killed. But very, very often, he had the knife, the gun, he was about to, cops walked in by accident, he didn't kill. But to want to kill and to be about to kill, you have to be a certain type of a person, correct or not? Like, I don't have it in me to go with a big knife into a public place to say, you know what, I had it already, I am about to kill. I don't have it in me. You understand? So, Baruch Hashem. But a killer, if you could go to the public place with a big dagger, he didn't kill yet, he's about to kill. Is he a killer? No. In one way he is. He just happened to be, he didn't kill. Same mashal with the voice. Let's say a person has a gorgeous voice, something out of this world. He knows, God knows, and that's where it stopped. And he sings amazing. Is he a singer? Yes, he is. He just never sang in any setup, but he is a singer. That's it. Very simple. Any midah is like that. So the killer is a killer. If a person does not believe in Hashem, it's very hard to say this. I'm sure there are many, many atheists that would have a problem with hearing this, but he, in essence, is a killer. Happens to be, he's not killing because of X, Y, Z. The opportunity is not the same, or who knows, or he develops some kind of mindset, or who knows that the fights it, but he has the ingredients of a killer. The only reason you don't kill is because you know I am Hashem your God. That's it. Very simple. I am Hashem your God, so you believe that, you don't kill. Comes together. Happens to be also that I mentioned earlier, a person's scared to punch somebody in the face, usually. Why? Because Hashem made it, B'Tselem Elokim. Hashem created a person, B'Tselem Elokim, in the image of God. So there's a concept of like godliness in a person. So that also correlates, I am Hashem your God, to don't kill. We go on to the next one now, which is easier to understand. Commandment number 2 on tablet 1. Lo yeh lecha elokim achirim, do not have any other gods. Do not have any other gods. In our generation, Baruch Hashem, it's not such a problem. Most people go off the derech not to go to another God. They go off the derech because they're succumbing to their desires that they cannot control. They just like to, they feel guilty, so they'll find out how there's no God, and then they're going to say, there's no God, so that's why. But really, they're succumbing to their desires, the bottom line. So now, do not have any other gods. If you're going to go become Christian or Muslim or something else, what is that tantamount to? So who knows second commandment on tablet 2, which is in essence commandment number 7. Lo tin'af, do not commit adultery. And that's a perfect shidduch, pun intended. How? Because if he believes in other gods, that means he is veering from his union to Hashem. He's veering. He's going to believe in another God. Same thing like the person that goes and lives with the wrong person. That's already Eish Ish. He's also, they're veering. They belong to their spouses and they're living with the wrong person. Same idea. That makes sense? Connection? Good. First one's harder to understand. This is the second one. Third one. Commandment number 3. So again, I am Hashem your God. Do not have any other gods. Lo tisa et shem Hashem Elokecha lashav. Do not say Hashem's name in vain. Do not say Hashem's name in vain. Interesting. That means you have no problem. You don't care. Like you have no filter. You're comfortable saying Hashem's name. You don't care about true, not true. How can you? What does that connect to? What's the third one on the second tablet? So first one is don't kill. Next one is don't do adultery. Third one, don't steal. Lo tignov. Now that means stealing is tantamount to what? Don't say Hashem's name in vain. Stealing means that I don't care that I'm in a certain prison. This belongs to me. That doesn't belong to me. I don't care. I'm going to go out of my box and let out whatever I need to let out, to stretch out my hand and take what I need to from elsewhere. That's some stealing. Happens to over there it's kidnapping, but the same philosophy of that's called stealing. And our third commandment is don't say Hashem's name in vain. You're not allowed to say Hashem's name in swearing in court in vain, right? And you have no problem. But it's not allowed. It's something else. You're veering from the truth. You're saying Hashem's name in vain. I swear that so-and-so they're testifying in court, falsely swearing Hashem's name. What are you doing? You want something to happen that's not justice. It's like stealing. You want that to be mine. You want something to happen that's not just. Saying Hashem's name in vain is you're using it in vain. You want something to happen, that's why you're using it. That's not just. Same idea. And we go on to the next one. What's the fourth commandment? Zachor et Yom HaShabbat. Remember the day of Shabbat, Hashem rested. 6 days he worked, 7th day, right? He rested. Now on the second tablet now, we're going on to the next one, which is Lo Ta'aneh B'Re'acha Shaker, number 9. Fascinating. Let's try to connect these two. Do not be a false witness, false testimony. If you are a false witness, not Hashem's name necessarily, but you're testifying falsely in court. If you testify falsely in court, someone's getting messed up because of you, right? So that is the same thing as the commandment of keeping Shabbat. What is the purpose of keeping Shabbat? You're too young, you're just keeping Shabbat because you're in the rhythm of it. That's you're taught, you know that's what but really, when you keep Shabbat, you close down your store. You boys don't make millions yet. But one day you're going to go to the working field, which that's the nature of a person ends up, he has to bring parnasah home. And to know what it means to stop money from coming in, it's crazy. Someone told me he once went to 47th Street to a Bukharian businessman. I think his name was Mr. Rachamim Baruchov. I don't think he's alive anymore. And he goes to his office Friday about 1 o'clock. A very, very financial productive meeting. And he tells him, I need to meet with you. What does this Mr. Baruchov say back? Shabbat. But this could be $1 million. Shabbat. That shows, you are testifying by saying that I believe Hashem created the world in 6 days, and He stopped for the 7th day. Can you imagine another day of creation? Look what a day of creation does. Birds, animals, grass, trees, sun, moon. Look what every day of creation is. And He stopped. If I do that, for you it's not a big deal, your kids. But think of your parents who work. If you close your shop, I saw in front of my eyes our community went from everyone working on Shabbat to Baruch Hashem, many stopped working on Shabbat. Unbelievable to see it in front of my eyes. We're zocheh to be that community, that transition to that. So that shows that you are testifying Hashem is, and if you, let's say you work on Shabbat, then what are you doing? You're showing false testimony. You don't really believe Hashem created the world. You don't really believe it. Why are you working for? False testimony. So that's how the 4th commandment on the first tablet, right, matches with the 9th commandment, Shabbat, matches with false testimony. Now we go on to the last one. What is the 5th commandment on the first tablet? Respect your father and mother. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Now this is a very, very fundamental commandment. We all know, speech of its own. Why is that on the first tablet? What's supposed to be on the first tablet? Ben Adam lemakom. But respecting mother and father, I would imagine that's Ben Adam and Chavero were 2 human beings, me and my father and mother, right? We're 3 human beings. So why is it Ben Adam lemakom? Because the whole purpose, before I should bring down, of respecting your mother and father is to understand that there's authority above you, and people that respect their parents very, very well, they usually plug into believing Hashem and respecting Hashem very, very well. But if your parents could raise you, your mother carried you in her stomach, and then you're crying at night, you're going to be a father one day. Just till the age of 2 alone, you're going to lose your marbles to understand what it means to raise a child. Forget about age 5, 10, 15, 20, and afterwards also. Just till age 2 alone, you're going to remember, this is just 2. This kid owes me his life. Just 2 alone. Look at this. Unbelievable. So that means, if you could go against that, it'd be chutzpah to that. So that's like, you have no problem being against Hashem either. You understand? But let's connect it. So that's why it's on the first tablet. Because it's very simple. The purpose of it is respecting Hashem. That's how it plugs in. That's why it's there. Respecting Hashem. But that's the 5th commandment. What's the 5th commandment connected to? Usually I have a hard time comparing these two, but maybe with your help we're going to pull it off this time. The last commandment is, don't be jealous. Lo tachmod bet re'echa. Respect your mother and father on this side of the scale. Don't be jealous at that side of the scale. How do you understand to correlate these two things, right? So, could be you could say the following. Whenever you're jealous, you believe that something else is entitled to you that wasn't given to you. People who don't respect their parents, where does it root in? They believe that that's not supposed to be their parents. That action the parent did, who knows whatever they did, was not supposed to come their way. So when they react upsettingly, what is the reaction to essence doing? What is he amplifying? He's amplifying that it's not supposed. I rather something else, not this. This was not supposed to come my way. Something else was supposed to come my way. That's what it amplifies. So whenever you have the midah of being jealous, most people that are jealous of other stuff as a Rabbi I could tell you, happens to be they don't have a problem with kibbud avayim at home. But people that are content, this is what I have. These are my shoes. This is my suit. This is my who knows what. My parents gave me. That's my parents have to go to bed this time. I have to do this chore. And some kids do it anyway, but the complaint doesn't help. I'm not talking about the kids that do it anyway because they're scared zauchim. I'm not talking about those type of kids. I'm talking about the type of kid that does it comfortably, sweet, with open heart. Not a problem. So those are the type of kids usually don't have that much of a jealousy problem. That's to the sakana and the red flag area. But the ones that have problems, either they don't listen to the parents or they listen because they don't want to listen, but they're scared. So then there's a problem with believing that I'm not supposed to have this, I'd rather have other stuff. And being jealous, takes a person out of this world. So you see, at the end of the day, how these two tablets, although they're two tablets, there's a strong correlation, top to top, bottom to bottom, side by side, through and through. B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zocher to fulfill all 613 mitzvot that are all in the Asarat Hadibrot. Shabbat Shalom.